Today we are at the grave of Robert A. and Mary Eileen Lewis. Robert was the Major Robert A. Lewis was the co-pilot on the Enola Gay on August 6, 1945, when the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. And his wife, Mary Eileen, also a New Jersey native, was an executive at Saks Fifth Avenue. So these are two high-powered New Jerseyans here. In a quiet cemetery in Monmouth County holds the final resting place of a man who was involved in changing the world. Robert A. Lewis was born on October 18, 1917, in Brooklyn, New York, and was raised in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. While in high school, he was a football star and prime athlete, and after high school, he got a job at a candy manufacturing company, working the factory floor as an entry-level employee. He enlisted after Pearl Harbor and was found to be a natural at piloting an airplane. After combining his knowledge and experience with machines at the candy factory with his skills in the air, he was hand-picked by the famous Colonel Paul Tibbets to test pilot the brand new and most complicated weapon ever built up to that time, the B-29. He even taught Charles Lindbergh how to fly the enormous, complicated airplane. The story of the August 6th bombing is, of course, complicated, but I do want to provide some highlights here because I had heard much of this before, but didn't really understand how it fit into the larger picture. Lewis was highly qualified and had been selected, even asked by Tibbets, to be part of the atomic bomb squadron due to deliver Fat Man or Little Boy to their targets. The B-29 with tail number 82, it had not yet been named the Enola Gay, was assigned to drop the initial bomb called Little Boy. Tail number 82, commanded by Lewis, was all crewed and ready to go. Then enters Tibbets, the commanding officer, taking over the lead chair and bringing in several of his trusted crew members, bumping some of Lewis's crew. Tibbets also took the bold step of naming the aircraft after his own mother. Lewis was expecting to command and fly the aircraft, but instead, as the titular co-pilot, he literally had nothing to do on the flight. Therefore, he took it upon himself to keep a written journal of the experience. He was also keeping it for a journalist who had made the request because he missed the flight. The keeping of this journal was, of course, against regulations, but I think Lewis was rebelling in his own way. As the mission proceeded, you can hear in the tone of his writing that the mood goes from humor to anticipation to horror to guilt. Starting with the bomb is now alive, and it's a funny feeling knowing it's right in back of you. Knock wood. Followed by, there will be a short intermission while we bomb our target. And the whole situation takes a decidedly darker turn. As you can see here, it just seems impossible to comprehend. Just how many people did we kill? I honestly have the feeling of groping for words to explain this. I might say, my God, what have we done? And he concludes with, if I live 100 years, I'll never quite get these few minutes out of my mind. Lewis was to feel tremendous remorse for the remainder of his life. And the guilt never left him. On May 11, 1955, Lewis appeared on live national television during the reality show This Is Your Life. The host used Lewis to ambush the Reverend Kiyoshi Tanimoto, a Methodist minister who had survived the Hiroshima blast. In front of millions of viewers, a sweating, terrified Tanimoto shook hands with the man who had helped bomb his city. Lewis was very uncomfortable and became emotional. The experience changed everything. Tanimoto and Lewis became lifelong pen pals.
Fast to get out of the way of the deadly radiation and bomb effects. First was the big flash that we got, and then the two concussion waves hit the ship. Shortly after, we turned back to see what had happened. And there in front of our eyes, the city of Hiroshima disappeared.
In the years following the war, Robert went right back to New Jersey and candy making. Ultimately, his skills in mechanics led to patents for candy making machines. Primarily, he simplified and shortened the process of manufacturing and injecting sugared jellies. It sounds like the Lewis family, with Robert at its head, had a pretty good after-war existence, although Robert did struggle with PTSD and ultimately turned to sculpting to help him deal with that. He dies on June 18th, 1983, after having retired to Virginia, and he is laid to rest here at the Homedale Cemetery. Many years later, his beloved Mary Eileen, who has quite a story of her own, is laid to rest next to him. She met Robert just after the war, and after working her way up the chain, became the manager of the cosmetic sales department at Saks Fifth Avenue, all the while having raised 5 children and served as an EMT until the end of her life. God bless both their souls. Thanks for watching.